Hey, my name is Jeff, and this, ladies and gentlemen, this is my final story project. And featuring me, the interviewer. Alright, let's just start off with, who are you and what do you do? Well, my name is Jeff, and I am a professional videographer. Splendid. Good to finally meet you. It's been a while. You know, we booked you a couple months ago. Looks like you've been keeping yourself busy. Yeah, and I apologize for that. Sorry, but Hollywood blockbusters don't film themselves, But of course, completely understandable, especially with the motion pictures you make, mate. Thanks for that. Also, can I mention, what a lovely jumper you have on. Would you mind giving us a little cat spin? Of course, no problem. I'm a pretty drippy fellow. Thanks for hearing us, mate. But now to get the actual interview underway, if you don't mind telling us, what are your inspirations? And what would you say that started you on this path of videography and led to you making one of the greatest motion pictures ever made in Silence 2? Yeah, of course, no problem. I've actually been into video production for a really long time. Actually, since 2009, in fact. Ever since I was about 5 years old, I started watching Lego stop motion videos on YouTube, and those were the first things that kind of inspired me to want to make something in my own vision, so to speak. Because turns out, when I watched them, I thought to myself, hey, these are all good and all, but what if I can, start making them myself and add my own little twists and new perspectives to it all? And I gotta say, I don't think I was wrong. The great movies you make, mate, what would you say your purpose statement is? Because I feel like it could be seen through all the pictures you've made. Believe it or not, until recently, that was actually a very hard question for me to answer because you don't really think about these things, you just do them. So for me, to be honest, I'd say my purpose statement is to entertain people and help them see the world from a new perspective. Absolutely lovely, mate. And with a great purpose statement like that, you've obviously been taught by some really good mentors. Where did you go to meet those mentors? They say before the storm came the wind, and before college came high school. Now, back when I lived in Florida, I ended up going to Haines City High School, and I completed all my 4 years of my secondary education there. Now, as well as meeting a bunch of good friends that I still have to this day, I ended up meeting a bunch of teachers that also helped me out do a bunch of things. I'd like to thank, most importantly, my band teacher for teaching me how to shred, but more importantly, my digital arts teacher, because although he only taught me things in the realms of Adobe, now that we're in 2032, most things are based off Adobe, and now that I have that fundamental information, I can go a lot further. Great to hear, but next question now. Now obviously we understand that with someone of your stature, we can't ask for you to disclose your earnings, but how would you say you're paid for your further educational endeavors, such as college, university? That is certainly the question. A younger me would also love the answer to that because by the time I ended up finishing high school, I had no idea what I was going to do to pay for college because my parents couldn't afford it. I definitely couldn't afford it as someone who hasn't worked before. So luckily for me, there was this great thing that came along called the Pell Grant. Now, most of my teachers always told us, hey, apply for scholarships while you have the chance. They're pretty much available for everyone. You can at least get something. But because I am, pretty lazy, unfortunately, I didn't get any scholarships. But luckily for me, I had a grant, the Pell Grant. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know who Mr. or Mrs. Pell is, but their grant pretty much paid for my first 4 years, and I was very grateful for that. Not to mention even greater resources, such as one of the first classes I went into when I ended up going to college, which was my SLS course, otherwise known as New Student Experience. While I can leave it to my own life's experiences to teach me about life itself, teaching me about things in college themselves, SLS really helped me in that regard. It gave me an academic blueprint to know how I wanted to base my academic goals, as well as taking a survey that taught me strengths I didn't even know that I had. So I definitely can't understate how much of an impact that made on me. After you graduated, would you say that there's anywhere you went in particular to, further expand your skills and your reach as a, videographer as yourself? Oh, most definitely. After graduating in 2026, I ended up taking an internship at Navi Design in Orlando, which ended up teaching me a lot of skills I've taken with me through my ongoing film career. As well as later on, when I moved to California, I took another internship at Wax Eye Films, which led me to the position where I am today. Now for the biggest question I'm pretty sure everyone is dying to know. How did you end up meeting one of the greatest filmmakers of all time in that of Martin Scorsese? When I mentioned that Wax Eye is one of the main reasons I'm here today, this is kind of what I was leading towards. One day after wrapping up a shoot that I was commissioned for, I got an email from Cyclia Studios, which to the most common man probably doesn't scream too much attention, but for somebody like me, it definitely caught mine, because that was the studio of Martin Scorsese, and I thought to myself, there's no way, there's no way. And then I read it, and he said he liked my work on one of my short films, and they wanted me to see what I can do, and you better believe I was there as fast as possible. And a couple days later, I was on set filming with my favorite actor of all time, Andrew Garfield. Now, of course, it was only me as a recording role, but I fanboyed a little bit. Not to mention, it was a box office smash, crossing over $2.3 billion at the box office, and with 5% commission. You better believe that's a pretty chunk of change. Back in school, I was never any good at math, but I'm pretty sure 5% of $2.3 billion is still a very big number, mate. So this is definitely a nice, humble beginning story that I'm glad I was the first to break to the people. You better believe it. Now, would you say you have any parting words for our dear viewers? Anything you would tell them to any aspiring filmmakers? Just a couple. Surround yourself with really good people and make sure that you have a lot of resources available for you to help you out. You know, mines were the friends I made along the way that could help me in my film studies, as well as the amazing quiet study rooms at Valencia. I gotta tell you, a quiet environment would do wonders for your work ethic. Well, that's good to hear, mate. Now that we're ending the interview, is there any final things you'd like to tell everyone? Well, for you in particular, yes. I actually have a surprise. Would you mind if I showed you on that side? Oh, you want to show me on this other camera? Well, I don't think it's ever been done before, but why not? The stage is yours, mate. It was me, all along. You totally never knew. It was me, the whole time.